This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the president and CEO of Azincourt Energy, Mr. Alex Klenman. Alex, how are you today?
I'm great, Gerardo. It's always great to get on the line with you and talk deals, and really excited about Azincourt. So happy it's something you want to cover, and we're happy to be involved.
Well, listen, it's a story that we definitely want to help tell for two reasons. One, I'm extremely bullish on the uranium space. I think we're in the early stages of what's going to be a phenomenal bull cycle. And two, it appears, and it's early. I'll preface my statement by saying that it's early, but it appears you may be on to a significant discovery. I would love for you to provide the context and introduce the company a bit and tell us, why you're involved, because I know you're selective as well.
Yeah, no, well, I got involved. I had some success in the uranium space as an investor back around 2010, 11, and that was really my introduction to the space. I missed the big run in 2007, 8, but in 2010, 11, pre-Fukushima, the market was crazy. We had $75 spot. Market caps exploded, and a lot of money was made. And so I wanted to get into the space from a management side, from a professional side, and did so in 2017. I was already a shareholder of Azincourt. At the time, it was called Azincourt Uranium. And I knew some people involved, and they sort of invited me in, and I've been there ever since. So we're an exploration and development company. We stuck to our guns in the bear, when spot was $22, and we earned the majority interest of the East Preston project, the great partner Sky Harbor Resources, whom I know you know well, and they helped us achieve in a bear market the majority of our East Preston project, which is in the western Athabasca, surrounded by billions of dollars in market cap. We have Orano directly to the east of us. We've got NextGen just to the north of us. There's several $billion right there in market cap, and you've got others in the area. You've got Cameco, and you've got Fishing, and you've got others. So they're in a really good spot, and beginning to bear fruit with our long-term exploration of East Preston.
Excellent. Let's talk about why I say you may be on to a discovery of significance. Care to provide the context there?
Absolutely. Now, so over the last several years, we've done everything we need to do on essentially virgin ground. We've done a number of geophysical surveys. We've done a number of ground surveys. We've been able to delineate almost 30 kilometers of conductive trend, which is really first order criteria for basement hosted uranium deposits. So we've got the lengthy trends, which give you the first targeting, and we've gone in now over the last few years and done limited drilling, but everything we're doing is incrementally pointing us towards discovery. Last year, we began to run into elevated uranium at 2 to 3 times background for the first time, and that was good. And now this year, we're halfway through our biggest drill program to date. It's a 6,000 meter program targeting several zones of interest. And we're beginning to see in one of the zones in particular, very strong alteration, and a lot of big discoveries have been made by chasing alteration in the basin. Millennium, Key Lake, MacArthur River were all discovered through various methods of chasing the alteration. So alteration is critical. It's the halo, or typically halo around a deposit or mineralization. So we're running into that. Hematite is the main giver that we're seeing at this point, and that's good. And now we're beginning to see the clay. The clay is you typically find it closer to mineralization, and we're getting up to 10 times background radioactivity now in a couple of the holes. So these are things that, when from a geological standpoint, you're getting closer to the goal, and that is significant or impactful mineralization. And we're seeing all the indicators, and it's really a step forward, a big step forward. The alteration zone that we're running into here is about 800 meters at current pace, and there are these hematite alteration zones that are over 100 meters thick in the drill holes, and combine that with the radioactivity and now the beginnings of the clay. Look, last year, if we ran into a significant mineralization, we would have probably been shocked at that development, just simply because it would have been an extreme bit of luck. But at this point, if we run into it tomorrow, let's say, we won't be shocked, because we're seeing the right environment for it to happen. So very exciting for sure.
Now, this alteration zone that you're talking about, it's important because this plays a critical part in locating those specific areas along the conductor trends, right? Where these massive deposits have been discovered.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, look, that's what I mean by saying, if we had run into that mineralization prior to this development, it would have been like, well, whoa, that doesn't make a lot of sense. We'd be happy, but how can you run into it without seeing the alteration? Now we're seeing the alteration, and really this is a very logical, methodical way to vector into deposition. And so we're happy. We're obviously seeing all the things we need to see. Now, look, 10 times background radioactivity. There are other radioactive elements in the area. We know that. You get thorium typically that gives you a bump, in potassium and things like that. So with what we're seeing with 10 times background, we are of the opinion that you simply are not going to get that much of a bump from thorium, for example. So we do expect to see mineralization in the assay results. To what degree and what value, is yet to be determined. But we've moved several drill pads into this giving zone, decay zone. We've gone deeper in several holes, and you don't typically move your drill pads into areas and drill deeper for negative reasons. So this is a good sign. And we're probably going to spend a little bit more money than we initially thought as well. So that's always good. It's a good thing to happen as well.
You mentioned the $billion market caps of several companies. Where's Azincourt today? Just to give people some perspective there.
We're in that 30 to 40 million range. We've got a lot of stock out. It's sort of the one thing that North American investors, funny, when I talk to the Australian funds, they kind of laugh when I sheepishly talk about how much stock we have out. They don't seem to mind, and neither do the funds. It's a good point here to make to your listeners and your audience, is that Azincourt has yet to make the big discovery, yet we have over 20 institutional funds that have invested in the deal. And I think that's a validation, not only of the sector, as you mentioned, the beginning of a bull, but also the prospectivity of East Preston, and they don't typically like to take on risk. And yet here we are. We haven't run into the hole that changes that risk factor yet. We're really close, but we've been able to raise almost $15 million in the last 18 months. And I think that has a lot to do with the validity of the projects we have, particularly East Preston. And that's a good sign. So, the retail investor knows that the due diligence that the funds do is very intense and very strong and very detailed. And we survived that to the tune that, I think it's hard to find. It'd be hard to find another company at our stage of development with this level of institutional support.
How's the Treasury looking? You mentioned additional drilling. You mentioned drilling deeper. How's that looking?
Yeah, no, we've got north of 10 million in the bank, probably around 11 at this point. We have an active partner in Sky Harbor who will pick up some of the cost of that overage. It's funny, a lot of retail investors are worried. We've had a couple of drill programs, 2 out of the last 3 that we've done, which were small programs, but late starts and early onset of spring has caused us to fail twice out of 3 times early in the program. So this year we're extremely well funded, got a big running start on the program, and now we're running into, forget about the warmth, we've run into extreme cold. Extreme cold has increased the cost of doing business where we are. So we've had to increase fuel costs and road maintenance and things like that. So it's funny, everybody always said, let's hope it's super cold. When it's minus 50, the equipment tends to give you problems. Yeah.
Alex, before I let you go, we talked about the Treasury, we talked about the institutional holdings, we talked about the potential for a significant discovery here. Tell me a bit about the team, and then tell me when you think you'll have assays in hand so that we're chatting about something more tangible, right?
Yeah, you bet. No, 2 things. One last thought before we go to that is we do have a second project called Hatchet Lake. Urge anybody who is interested in us to look at our website and learn about Hatchet Lake too. It's a second project we have in the northeastern side of the basin, and we'll be doing at least a minimum $1 million drill program there as well in the coming 12 months. So lots of drilling. In terms of personnel, we brought a geologist on board in late 2020 named Trevor Perkins, and Trevor's our VP Exploration. He's made several impactful discoveries, most notably the northern extension at MacArthur River, 110 million pounds. So he knows how to make discovery, and this is the first big kick at the can that he's had with us. He did oversee last year's program, and again, we started to see really good incremental improvements, and this year we're beginning to see exceptional improvements. So I'm happy to have Trevor kind of running the drill program. He's the main guy. Happy that he's involved, and you love to have a guy who's been there, done that, and that's good. That's what we have with Trevor. And in terms of our treasury, again, plenty of money. We can handle the overages without problems. We've got lots of warrants that are pretty much in the money at this point, but we also have the funds, and the funds are willing to keep funding us because they have an idea that they want to be involved with discovery in a bull market. I don't think there's anything like it. So funny, if you asked me, would we like to drill hit today, I'd say yes, we'd love to see that big mineralized run today. But in the back of my mind, would I rather see it at $80, $90, $100 spot? Yeah, probably. So we're drilling, but we're heading into a great run, and we're happy that things are going the way they're going.
Well, I think $85, $90 spot price is going to be conservative here in the midterm. I think you are hitting the sweet spot of the cycle if you're able to prove up a discovery. And I love a good exploration story, and I love me a discovery, which is why I reached out. Thanks, Alex, for coming on. Looking forward to having you back on.
Yeah, appreciate it, Gerardo, as always. And anybody needs more details on what we do, visit the website or give me a call directly. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. We'll put a link. Appreciate it.